These long dog days of summer, I mean, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. You know what's really terrifying? That unfinished college degree lurking in the background, just sitting there waiting for you. That's where Southern New Hampshire University comes in. With flexible online degree programs, there's no commuting, no rigid schedule, and no more excuses. Plus, they have some of the lowest online tuition rates in the U.S. Visit snhu.edu/morbid to learn more before your degree becomes just another story about what could have been. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Hey, weirdos. I'm Elena.
I'm Ash.
And this is Morbid.
It is. And your hair looks really good over there.
Your hair looks really good over there.
Your hair looks really good. You get the swoop without trying, and that upsets me. Because I try really hard for the swoop.
Your swoop is a good swoop.
Thank you, but it's not effortless. It's full of effort.
It's full of effort.
Yours,
you know
it
looks great.
You're like, I woke up like this.
No, I actually did my hair this morning.
No, you can tell that you did
brushed it.
But still, even when you don't do your hair, the swoop is swooping. Swoopity-oopity.
Always swooping.
Yeah. I just had a glazed stick, so I am feeling... Why is that so funny?
It's always funny.
I know.
I don't know why.
It's because it sounds horrible. Which is why I said glazed stick. You have to be very purposeful.
Yeah. You can't run those two together.
But
everybody Dunkins, everyone.
Donks, baby. But it's a huge donut, essentially, which the look doesn't even make it any better.
No, it looks terrible.
They should name it something else. Anyways, but it's a big donut full of sugar and
big donut stick that is glazed. You know?
So I feel sugarful.
I feel sugarful.
I feel like Sugar Ray.
And you know what? Speaking of Sugar Ray, funny little story before we start. John got me a cameo of Mark McGrath. Sugar Ray, who he just calls Sugar Ray. Like,
that's why I'm saying
he just thinks his name is Sugar Ray.
Remember when you saw the guy at the airport?
Yes.
And John was like, "That's Sugar Ray."
And John said, "That's Sugar Ray." Oh my God, I didn't know he was still alive. And I was like, he's like not an old guy,
not at all.
And
he's like your age.
Yeah, no, I think he's a little older than me.
Sorry,
I'm like, come on. But he told him that I was his biggest fan.
You are, aren't you?
Obviously. And he sang me "Fly." And he put my name in the song. And
I can confirm. It was a good.
It was a good
cameo. I wanted to say TikTok.
It was very fun.
When will this episode come out? Can you tell them what you got John without spoiling it or no?
Okay, I got John. So John loves a 90s R&B moment. I think I've more than once said that.
John is a 90s R&B moment.
John is a 90s R&B moment.
I played Genuine at my wedding simply for John.
Yeah, like he's 90s R&B is his, that's everything to him. And I'm not kidding you, multiple times a day, John sings This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan. And that was one of his first concerts.
And he puts it into like different...
Oh, yeah.
Like he'll sing to the tune of it even.
Like if one of our girls does something, he's like, don't put the glass there. Like he literally...
Do not put the glass there.
Like he does it multiple times. So the girls know the song.
It's great.
Is part of our daily lives. So I got him a cameo from Montel Jordan. And let me tell you, Montel Jordan, first of all, he looks phenomenal.
That is
a handsome man.
That man is excuse me, I was going to say a snack. That man is the whole damn meal.
And he was so sweet in the cameo.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, you don't have to, but it would be sick if you could just sing a quick line.
Like, I love
This
that.
Is How We Do It, but I totally understand if that is like not something you want to do. He did.
And
his voice,
effortless.
phenomenal. And John's just going to die. And I'm so excited for it. It's like one of those fun gifts that you're just like, I can't wait to show you this.
I know, you need to send it to his phone, like give him the link so that you can video the reaction because I want to see it if I'm not here.
Oh yeah. We love cameos in this house. We love to send each other either genuine cameos that are like wonderful or hilarious ones.
Yeah. And you can't even say what the hilarious
I'm
ones
not
are,
going
of course,
to. But just like ones that you're like, they're like, why would you send me this first? So cameos, a fun gift.
I will never forget when you got me a cameo from Lindsay Lohan. My life was complete in that moment.
And she told you
that I would still look sexy or not sexy. What did she say?
You wouldn't look like a British man
if you shaved all my hair off. Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, thanks, Linz.
Yeah.
She said so many great things.
It's true.
I love that. And you got me one from Gigi Good, who's like my favorite drag queen ever.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So that's cameos.
We're not sponsored by Cameos.
Cameos and Dunkin' Donuts.
but you know, it's a fun little gift if you can find some that are interesting to someone in your life.
I feel like this is not an ad for Cameo.
No, it's really not.
But there's somebody for everybody.
Why we're doing this, but
I don't know how we got here.
Guys, I just got really excited about Montel Jordan. It's like the real...
No, the cameo, that was honestly one of the best ones that I've seen.
Truly was. So
yeah. Didn't hurt that he is a good-looking fine man. Anyways.
So moving on from that, there's no good way to segue.
Truly not. I'm glad you said it because I was trying to figure out how to segue in my head and I couldn't. But let's recap. I do have a confession and it's that I lied to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said that part 2 was going to be longer than part 1. Incorrect. I swapped. I was like, I looked at the pages that I had written before we recorded and I was like, one is longer than the other, and I thought it was part 2, but it was part 1. They're different by like a page length, so
so
you're not going to be like hurting by the end of the episode.
But just in case you were counting by the minute and you were like, "Bitch, you lied."
Yeah, and
she knows.
I would never lie to you,
not intentionally,
like intentionally, definitely unintentionally, a lot. But let's recap a little bit. So in part 1, we got to know Joan Robinson Hill. We got to know her dad Ash and her mom, and you know, she got married a couple times, and you really thought it was going to work out well in the end, and unfortunately it did not, because whether or not John Hill has anything to do with her death, I don't know personally. I think the waters are too murky to say for sure.
Yeah.
But whether or not he did kill her, he is a turd monster for the way that he treated her.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing. Like whether or not he was involved in her death, which again we're not saying he was because I have no fucking clue.
It's in part 2. It's really, I don't think it's going to be cleared up.
It gets even murkier.
Yeah.
So, and it's like regardless of that, he was a shitty husband.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and honestly, it sounds like he wasn't a very present father as well.
No, at least not for like the first part of Lil Boot's life. I think he got to be, from the sounds of it, I think he got to be a little more involved, like after Joan passed away.
Well, I hope it was good for Boot.
And I think it was. So I hope that it was, because Lil Boot deserves that.
Lil Boot, you do deserve that.
Lil Boot, baby.
You deserved it.
But yeah, but as we know, Joan's father, Ash, was like a very big presence in her life. And when she did pass away, he full-heartedly believed that John had something to do with it. And it was essentially like his life's mission, to figure it out. Now, when I left off in part 1, we had just gone through basically Ash trying to get anywhere with the district attorney, a team of doctors to prove this. And when we finally did finish part 1, he had he was going to go before a grand jury.
Okay.
Like he was being indicted. So let's pick up with the grand jury. In July 1969, one doctor after another filed into the Harris County Court to testify in the grand jury case presented by McMaster, the assistant district attorney. Since the case rested mostly on the conflicting autopsy reports and the cause of death, just about every medical professional with even a casual connection to the case was called to testify.
Wow.
But unfortunately, at no time did any of them present any evidence suggesting that Joan's death had been intentionally caused by John or anyone for that matter.
And it's like, that's like unfortunately and fortunately, because at the same time, you're like, I hope she wasn't murdered. You know, like it's like, but also like, if she was, I want her to get justice. So it's like, I feel weird. Like, I'm like,
it's a strange feeling.
I would like evidence because I want her to get justice if that's the case. But I also am like, I hope you didn't get murdered.
Yeah.
But also that's an awful way to die regardless.
Right.
So it's like,
well, and I would like some evidence because even if John is like an asshole in a marriage, he doesn't deserve to be painted a murderer if he wasn't.
That's the thing. And like,
it stinks that it never really got cleared up, you know?
But also there was like some neglect there because it's like, he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Why was he allowing this to get as bad as it got? That's a problem.
There's no question in my mind that there was neglect. I mean, the way that the maid walked in and found Joan
there's no
that sick.
She should never have been allowed to convalesce like that at home.
Especially with a doctor for a husband. But what these medical professionals did do was question, and just like we were saying, many of the decisions that John made in the days leading up to Joan's death, from the medication he gave her to his refusal to let anyone to see her, and then to like not wanting to take her to a hospital that was even close by.
Yeah.
But despite the compelling hearsay evidence, most people couldn't help but speculate that rather than being motivated by evidence of wrongdoing, it was Ash Robinson who was really behind the persecution of John Hill.
Yeah.
Because small town people talk.
Of course.
After the grand jury had heard, all the testimony regarding John's negligence leading up to his wife's death, even Assistant DA McMaster was skeptical that their case would go anywhere. As they waited for the jury to return a decision, he told Ash, "I haven't got enough to convict this boy of running a red light.
Oh, damn.
Like, I don't have anything here."
Eek.
The problem, it seemed, was that the case was built mostly on complicated, conflicting hearsay evidence from medical professionals, and there was really no physical evidence whatsoever of criminal behavior.
Yeah.
So frustrated by Robinson's continued pressure, McMaster told Ash if he wanted to get a conviction, he would need to present the authorities with evidence of a crime. Like, hard evidence.
Yeah, I need something.
And it turned out that he was right. Without the physical evidence, the grand jury did not return a verdict finding John responsible for the death.
Wow.
But never one to back down from a challenge, Ash consulted with McMaster and Frank Briscoe, and together the men came up with a plan to present the jury with evidence of murder by neglect. So they were going a different route now.
Okay. Because that seems a little more likely to possibly get.
Yes, like some kind of conviction on.
Yeah.
Their point was, regardless of how she'd become sick, it was John's negligence and inattention of Joan's serious condition that ended up leading to her death. A result that he would have expected given his medical training.
Yeah.
I mean, all the signs were there that she was not doing well.
Yeah.
So knowing that John had already refused Ash's attempts to have Joan's body exhumed, he and Briscoe managed to get the matter before a grand jury in mid-August. And in mid-August, the court ordered that the body be exhumed and a third autopsy be performed. Which at this point, it's like she can't even rest, like, peacefully. And it makes me... And when I was first reading this, I was like, I don't know what a third autopsy is going to produce. When
I know.
She had already been embalmed. We were never going to get really anything concrete from an autopsy that point.
And it's like the degradation of her tissues and any viable evidence here now is like so much higher.
And again, it's going to just murky the waters even further. And it's interesting what happens here. So while the court may have ordered the exhumation, it remained that both the exhumation and the third autopsy would be overseen by Dr. Yehimchik, meaning that he was essentially being asked to reconsider or undermine his own earlier assessment of Joan's cause of death.
Yeah.
Which is pretty unlikely that he's going to undermine his professional opinion.
He's not going to be like, wow, I fucked up.
Right. So knowing that none of the physicians who were assigned to the autopsy would be on his side, Ash actually conducted some research of his own to find out who were among the most well-respected doctors in the nation. Like, the nation.
He's like, let's go. Ash is not giving up.
No, the list was short, but it included Dr. Milton Halpern, the chief medical examiner of New York at the time, whose credentials and reputation were beyond reproach. So Ash wasted no time contacting Halpern and bringing the man to Houston, where he was deputized as an acting Harris County medical examiner, so that way he could join the team of doctors performing this autopsy.
Holy shit.
I know that he could be really overbearing, but, like, the way that he just loved his daughter.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if, like, he has the money to do this.
Yeah.
So it's like, if he has the money to do this, then it's like, I would do the same thing.
That's
if I had,
thing.
You know, if I was an oil tycoon and could do all this after something happened.
Yeah, I would.
I would go to the ends of the earth.
And it's like the dedication and the love for his daughter and, like, wanting to see justice served. It's so heartwarming.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's so heartbreaking.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Because you're just like, are you ever going to get the answers
and he
that you wanted?
feels so sure that he knows what happened. And to be so sure in, like, your own mind and heart that your son-in-law murdered your daughter.
Yeah.
And that you're trying to find the evidence of that.
And you're coming up at, like...
I can't imagine that journey.
And then just to come up at, like, hard stop after hard stop of, like, it's not panning out.
And feeling like she's never going to get the justice. That must have been so hard.
Yeah. And just the way he loved her. Like, I've never heard of a dad loving his daughter
like really
this hard.
He really went.
He did. Getting paid twice a month doesn't mean money is scarce. It just feels that way. That feeling makes you do weird stuff, like putting things on a card you didn't need to. Earnin removes that feeling. With Earnin, you can access up to $150 per day of money you've already earned, plus up to $1,000 between paychecks. Standard transfers take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees, and expedited transfers start at $3.99 and cap at $5.99. 5 million people are already on it, and honestly, it's wild it didn't exist sooner. Download Earnin on the App Store or Google Play, spelled like earning money without the G. Type in Morbid under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Standard cash outs take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Tips are voluntary and don't affect the service. Available in select states. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state. So on August 11th, 1969, Joan Robinson Hill was exhumed and brought to the medical examiner's office. Now, almost immediately, something struck Dr. Yahimchik as odd. The medical examiner had performed the autopsy in the middle of the embalming process, like we know, and Joan was buried immediately after. But when he opened the casket to remove the body now, he discovered dried mud on the inside of her coffin, indicating that this was not the first time the coffin had been opened since it went into the ground.
What the fuck?
When questioned about the mud, the mortician noted that it had been a rainy day when Joan was buried, and he suggested that the mud maybe got inside when they reopened the coffin at John's request so that he could get Joan's wedding ring. And he said maybe that's when the mud ended up there.
Okay.
The explanation seemed plausible, but it did little to clear John of suspicion. Because it's like you wanted to reopen the casket to get her. I understand, like, wanting her wedding ring as, like, a sentimental piece of value, I suppose. But it's like, you also didn't, like, you
were having an illicit affair.
Yeah.
And like, didn't really care about her feelings about the whole thing.
That's the
Which
thing.
I'm not saying, like, he doesn't have a right to grieve and, you know, there's complicated feelings everywhere here. Like, I get that.
Right. But
it's
given
like,
the
to
details,
open up the casket again to take the wedding ring feels like it's like,
given the details of everything else like stacked against him right now, it's just when you put it up against that, it's weird.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not saying it makes him a murderer. I'm just saying
not at all.
It's a strange behavior.
Yeah.
Strange.
And I think it's just within all of this.
That's the thing. Like, it can be understood.
Yeah.
Like, we're both saying, like, I get it.
Right.
But it's, like, put together with everything else, you're just kind of like, huh.
It makes you just scratch your head a little.
You know? Lift your eyebrow a little bit.
Now, it turned out that the mud on the inside of the coffin was only the first of many bewildering aspects of this case.
Really?
Because when Joan's remains were removed and prepped for the autopsy, the team was shocked, and I think you'll have a bigger opinion of this than even I did, but it was shocking to me. And the team was shocked to discover that not only was the brain missing, but so was the heart.
What the fuck?
Her brain and her heart were missing. So the team contacted the original medical examiner, Dr. Arthur Morse, who explained he had removed both during the first autopsy and taken them back to his lab for examination, saying, I knew this was a case where I couldn't go back in, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works here or in this time period.
Yeah, it's like the 60s.
You should have to have permission to keep body parts.
That's
for
what
research.
I would think.
There's a lot of red tape and a lot of signatures that need to be signatured for you to keep a brain and a heart.
Right? That's what I would think.
Like, at least when I was working in autopsies, if you were going to keep a body part, a brain specifically, or any other organ,
you needed like a specific reason.
There were specific forms that needed to be signed by family members, by everybody involved, by the doctors, by everybody. And there's like a chain of custody with that organ. You need to know where it is, why it's happening. I mean, a lot of people have to agree to somebody keeping an organ. Because usually when you're studying one, you take a piece, you take your sample, but you put it back.
And I feel
unless otherwise asked for.
Right. And that makes perfect sense to me, that there would be a chain of custody and it would be like a rather intense process. And to me, the fact, and we don't know what the process was. Like, I couldn't figure out what the process was in the 60s.
Because this is a different state. It's a different time period. So I don't know.
Who knows? You would think that some protocol would be in place.
Yeah.
And because everybody thought this was so odd, that kind of tells me that there was some protocol that maybe wasn't followed. And the fact that this original doctor, Arthur Morse, felt like he needed to kind of potentially defy that because he couldn't go back in. I'm like, you thought that this case was going to come back up again.
That's the thing. I'm like, so were you not happy with the original examination you were able to do? Like,
and I don't think he was.
Like, that's what it sounds like.
Because of the embalming process having already started. So, and I wonder, I'm like, did you think that maybe, I mean, again, small town, I'm sure people were talking. Did you think to yourself, I need to be prepared if shit goes down and people want answers about the state of this body?
Because that's risky on his part, and for him to take a risk like that, sounds like he knew he was going to have to speak for something.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Or speak to something, you know what I mean? And that's just very strange.
Yeah.
Like, it's strange to go against what you would assume is a pretty routine, rigorous protocol.
Right.
That, because I can't imagine there's anywhere in the country that is like super willy-nilly about just organs. Like, I can just keep a brain. Like, it's no. Like, you have to put that back.
Strange.
Unless otherwise noted, obviously, because there's plenty of times where you request to keep an organ because you want to do studies on it for a long period of time.
Right.
But again, there's got to be so much permission involved.
And to me, the fact that if there was like a paper trail that would have had to have been followed and he wanted to avoid that, why did you want to avoid that? Because you were worried about John Hill being a doctor?
Well, and I'm also wondering about the reasons for the brain and heart specifically. Because usually when you do keep a brain, it's because there was something pointing
like
to the brain being like a part of whatever was happening here.
Right.
Or like, the heart, the same thing. And it's like, so why did you, I know those are two like the powerhouses of your body, obviously, but it's like, did you just do that because you were like, these are the two main parts? Because it's like also like her kidneys were involved in a lot of this, I'm sure.
I mean, her kidneys were the main reason why she had died.
So it's like you didn't keep those.
So it's kidney failure.
What did you think happened?
Yeah.
That you had to keep those organs instead.
That's the thing. And remember, if you do remember from part 1, he also took like multiple tissue samples and fluid samples. And I think he was preparing for the potential of a court case.
Yeah, he was probably like, they whisked her body away so quickly, shirking protocol from the get-go.
Right.
And started embalming it at lightning speed so no one could touch it. I'm sure that was his first red flag, because it was for all of us.
Right.
And this man is a medical examiner. He's probably like, excuse me, this is not how this works. So maybe you're right. Maybe he was like, you know what? Something's off about this right off the bat to me, because I would be
red flags
very
just
suspicious
like
of that.
popping out everywhere.
So maybe he was like, I'm going to take the 2 most important parts, because they're going to be affected by whatever could have happened here.
Yeah.
I'm going to take these 2 because I need to like keep this.
That's what I think.
To have it because I don't know what's happening here or why she was taken so quickly without an autopsy.
That's exactly
so
what
maybe
I think.
that is like, he just was like, which like good for him for like, it's tough because you need to have permission to do these things, and like, you know, it gets hairy like ethically and all that. But
of
like,
course.
I'm glad he at least thought. He was like looking and being like, something's a little off here.
Right.
You know?
Right. Exactly.
But, wow.
So
that's wild.
And that's what my gut just says, that he knew something was off and he wanted to be prepared.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
So it took nearly 2 months, but in October of 1969, the first of 2 autopsy reports were submitted by a team of 3 pathologists working on the case. And I say the first of 2 autopsy reports from this 3rd autopsy. Okay. I know that's a little confusing. The first report, authored by Dr. Robert Buckland, stated that Joan's cause of death was, and I quote, a result of bacterial meningitis with septicemia blood poisoning.
Damn.
Dr. Yahimchik, on the other hand, released his own separate report stating that Joan's cause of death was, and I quote, the result of a fulminating infectious process, the specific nature of which is no longer determinable.
Okay.
So he's backtracking.
I was going to say, he seems like he's
because he was,
blurring the lines a little.
Very steadfast that it was hepatitis.
Yeah. And now he's like, now we can't be sure.
I can't determine. And he added, quote, it is my further opinion that the exact cause and manner of death cannot be established from the exhumed body autopsy alone.
Okay.
Now, given all the inconsistencies, Dr. Yahimchik recommended that a grand jury investigation be undertaken. Because he's
at least he's good for him for at least not sticking with his original one just to stick to it.
Yeah.
He looked at the evidence again and he said, you know what? Right now, I can't say that that's what it is.
I thought that was pretty honorable.
Yeah, that seems pretty good to me.
And while the court and Ash's group of investigators waited for Halpern's report, John Hill did his best to carry on like everything was normal, despite the fact that his life pretty much seemed to be collapsing all around him. Mm-hmm. At this point, I'm sure you can imagine, his business had taken a serious hit. He's a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
Due to all the rumors and accusations leveled by his former father-in-law and circulated then by the Houston gossip circuit.
Yeah, I mean, if people think you're a murderer,
they're not
going to want to go under
boobies.
anesthesia with you with a knife.
No. And less than a year in, his marriage to Anne felt like a big mistake.
I don't want to say I told you so.
Wasn't so exciting now that you're not cheating on your wife.
Yeah, one I'm not sad about.
Yeah, he felt like she was never satisfied with anything he did or said, and he was already thinking about a divorce. Years later, his mother would recall him saying, if I didn't marry her, she threatened to call I.D. McMaster and say I killed Joan. And if I divorced her, she said she'd commit suicide and leave a note saying I was responsible for her death.
And get it together.
I know, if that is
My goodness.
if that is the case of what she said.
And either way, it's like, you guys are a wreck.
Yeah, get it together
the two
regardless.
of you need to get it together. Like, my goodness.
That's the thing. Now, Dr. Halpern took several months longer to complete his report than the other pathologists, which I respect. He was like, no, I'm getting this right.
Yeah.
And when he did finally submit it in April of 1970 now, the report did not contain anything particularly damning. Ooh. In fact, rather than fully implicate John in his wife's death, Halpern's report actually cleared Hill of many rumors by noting the cause of death, while indeterminate, was unlikely to have been intentionally caused.
I wonder how he was able to say those two statements, though.
Yeah.
I do wonder.
I don't know what the cause of death was exactly, but I know that somebody didn't do it. And it's like,
right.
Explain to me how do you reconcile those two statements together?
Because I need you to have a cause of death to know that nobody
I'm
did it.
I'm going to need you to determine the cause of death before you tell me that no one could have caused it.
Yes, that's
like
the
those
thing.
seem very conflicting to me. I'm like, nah, that doesn't jive for me.
I think the reason that he said that he didn't believe that it was
intentional
caused. Thank you, was because he found no evidence of any injections having been administered.
Well,
that was a big part of it.
That's not the only way you can kill someone.
But it's like, have you ever heard of like an oral? Like he could have given her any kind of medication orally, or you know,
and there's plenty of places where you might not find one under a nail.
Yeah, very true.
You know,
that's the thing, but. In simple terms, Halpern's report confirmed what Dr. Yahimchik had already indicated. As a result of miscommunication and improper medical practices immediately following Joan's death, it was very unlikely that her specific cause of death would ever be known, which is really incredibly unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, so frustrating.
Now, while it may have dismissed the theory that John had directly caused his wife's death, Halpern's report made it clear that, as both a husband and a doctor, John's behavior in the days leading up to his wife's death was without a doubt negligent.
Of course.
And earlier treatment, he said, absolutely could have prevented Joan's death.
And that's horrifying.
And that's the question at hand here at this point. Not did he do it, but did he ignore symptoms that resulted in her death. So by May 1970, 2 grand juries had heard the district attorney's argument and declined to return an indictment against John Hill. With the latest results from the autopsy in hand, McMaster returned to the grand jury for a 3rd time and presented his case again, this time with the opinion of one of the nation's most well-regarded medical examiners. For the most part, the case was represented the same as it had been the other 2 times that they'd been before the grand jury. But this time, jury members actually wanted to know the extent to which John's behavior had hastened Joan's death.
Yeah.
And according to Halpern, he said, failure to provide medical attention at home and reluctant delay in hospitalization for diagnosis and effective therapy aggravated a situation which proved fatal.
Yeah.
So he's saying he didn't take her to a hospital. He didn't give her, like, in time. He didn't give her proper medical attention at home.
Which is wild, considering he's a doctor.
And so the fact that it was too little too late is his fault.
Yeah.
Is what Halpern is saying.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to prove. And after a brief deliberation, the jury returned a decision against John Hill, with 10 of 12 jurors in favor of an indictment for murder by omission.
Oh.
Yes.
Damn.
So unlike manslaughter, which implies a person's negligence unintentionally led to the death of another, murder by omission implied that John had willfully, intentionally, and culpably, I feel like I always say that wrong, and then I say it again, and I'm like, no, that was right.
Yeah, you said it right.
Contributed to Joan's death.
Damn.
At that point, the charge had actually only been used in less than 20 court cases.
I was going to say, I've never heard that used.
Never had it been used in Texas up to this point.
Damn.
Crazy.
Only 20 cases.
20 cases. I got like chills saying that.
Crazy.
It's a lot. So the indictment immediately split the physicians on the autopsy team, with half flatly rejecting Halpern's conclusions and criticizing the jury for their decision. Dr. Paul, I think it's Radelet, told the press, if criminal charges in this type of situation be appropriate, then anyone whose mate expires unexpectedly after a few days of symptoms, whether from pneumonia, heart attack, or septic shock, could also be indicted.
And here's the thing, like, I get where they're coming from, that, like, it could seem like a slippery slope.
It's hairy.
Of, like, okay, so if I don't know it's that bad and I don't take them in time and they die, that's my fault. Like,
right.
You know, like, if I can't see the symptoms, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But then you're like, I think what it's saying here is that, one, he's a doctor, which you are trained from years and years of schooling and experience to recognize symptoms that somebody is very, very ill. And also, her symptoms were not invisible symptoms, like
you don't have to be a doctor. Would be like,
I didn't know she was this sick and we brought her and it's too late.
Right.
She was vomiting so much that she couldn't even get herself into the bathroom.
Right.
And was like, the maid found her covered in vomit and feces on the floor. Like, she never should have gotten to that point.
She was violently
and
ill.
Also,
violently.
I'm sure she was wildly dehydrated.
She was.
And I know that a doctor can spot dehydration from fucking counties away. Like, there's a doctor can look at you and go dehydrated. Like, hell, I can look and see if somebody's dehydrated. Like,
yeah.
It's There's certain symptoms you just know, and it's like, you know she was.
Absolutely.
And that alone can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see that she's going down that path of like even just dehydration from being sick, even a stomach bug, you can get too dehydrated, need to go to the hospital, get an IV.
Right.
So even if she was going down that path where it was just like, wow, you're dehydrating here, you should have got her to a hospital.
Absolutely.
So she could get IVs so that could stop. It's like, that's what I can understand that the doctor here is saying. It could be a slippery slope if we allow this to be this case, if this is not the way it is. But it's like, this one is different.
This is case specific.
And that's why this has only been used 20 other times, because this is very case specific. In this case alone, it's hard for him to reconcile and explain why he didn't get her to a hospital sooner.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
It was multiple days, like at least 3 days of symptoms like that.
And it's like after the first day of violent symptoms, if she's not better, to the doctor she goes.
That's the thing.
Like, that's the thing. Why not?
Right.
What's the worst that can happen? They're like, she's okay. Just go home.
And you put that hand in hand with not letting anybody in the house to see her.
That's the other thing.
Giving her what somebody said, and obviously we'll never know, was a tranquilizer. Why are you tranquilizing her when she's in this position? Like, I don't
tranquilizing
understand.
her seems like a terrible idea if she's vomiting. And,
exactly. Like, she's going to choke on her vomit.
She could die that way.
Right.
And it's like,
And then people said she got this sick after something that he gave her.
And
And that, again, that's hearsay because none of us were there. But there's a lot of factors that go into this specific case.
Exactly. I can see why they used this charge here.
And where it's silly to say that, like, oh, like, you know, if he goes down for this, watch out, Husbands of America. It's like, no.
I don't think that's the case.
And look how tough it was to get here in the first place, you know?
I think
it wasn't like this was like stop one,
it's the doctor of it all really takes it up a notch.
Right, exactly. So Halpern's autopsy report had definitely influenced the jury's decision to return an indictment against John, but so did testimony given by his now ex-wife, Ann Kurth.
Oh.
When John had initially asked his lawyer to draw up the divorce papers, his attorney actually strongly advised against it, noting that it would look pretty bad if he was already divorcing the woman he'd left his wife for.
Yeah.
But John insisted it needed to happen, and the couple was divorced on March 12th, 1970, 1 week short of the anniversary of Joan's death.
Man.
Yeah. They had they had barely made it a year.
What? When I say you got to get it together, I mean you got to get it together.
You got to get it together.
What are you doing?
Truly, what are you doing?
Because it's like when they got married right after this, remember when we were talking about it, we were like, listen, like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying he did it. I'm just saying, if you know the whole place is thinking you might have done it, and then you go marry the lady you were having an affair with.
What are you doing?
5 minutes after she dies.
Get a fucking publicist.
You gotta think a little bit. And just use your goddamn brain, dude.
Seriously.
Like, come on.
It turned out, though, that John's lawyer was right to be worried. Mm-hmm. When she took the witness stand, an obviously angry and bitter Anne performed very dramatically for the jury, telling them, quote, John Hill had not only killed his first wife, but had also tried to kill her on 3 occasions.
Damn, man.
Anne insisted that John had managed to fake his polygraph results and made her best attempt to convince the entire courtroom and the assembled press that John Hill was a violent and dangerous man.
Wow.
Now, he very well could have been.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like in this case, I don't know, this is tough.
This is tough, but it's also like, she's mad. She obviously.
Right.
Is she so mad that she's going to brand him a murderer?
That's the thing.
I mean, that's pretty mad.
That's pretty mad.
That's pretty bad blood between an ex couple.
It is.
Like, I really don't like my ex-boyfriend, but I'm not gonna paint him as a murderer. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh shit, it's my chance to get him behind bars for the rest of his life.
But I'm like, and that's the thing.
Is there some truth to something here that, like, she's saying?
And who knows? And I'm not saying that there isn't, for the record.
Like, I'm like,
there could be.
Could he have been violent with her?
But wouldn't you think that sitting on a jury, you would question that testimony?
Of course.
That's why I'm like, here. Was that really a smart decision to even put her on the stand?
But exactly. That's where the problem lies, is if she is telling the truth, then that sucks even more because she wasn't taken seriously.
Exactly.
And it's like, everything about this sucks because it's like she could absolutely just be unhinged and be up there angry and decide to
ruin this
really
man.
fuck this guy's world up and just make up the worst shit you can possibly make up about somebody. People have done that.
Oh yeah.
We've seen it happen, like it's not unheard of.
Look at the West Memphis 3 case. The shit that got made up during that case.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's shocking to think somebody would be so angry about the breakup of a marriage that they would want to paint that person as a murderer, but it people are vindictive. Happen.
And again, like, I'm not saying that that's the case.
If she is telling any of the truth, then that sucks even more because she's just being ignored and treated as... I'm not an Anne fan, as we know.
No.
But, like, if she was being abused in any way or he was violent with her, she does not deserve that.
But I don't think I ever would have put her on the stand as a prosecutor or as a...
It was not good for anybody.
Attorney. No.
To be quite honest.
No. But the accusation and the accusations in the indictment were all deeply troubling for John. But just as the grand jury investigation was wrapping up, he started dating a new woman.
Okay.
This one lasts.
Okay, John. But seriously?
Like the marriage, I should say.
Come on.
Yeah. Connie Loseby, who would serve as a source of comfort and support through the upcoming trial, was the new woman John was dating. Under normal circumstances, his romantic life obviously wouldn't be that important. But now, in the context of his legal troubles, it appeared to the outside world that he had a bit of a habit of trading one wife in for another pretty rapidly. In fact, it took John's lawyer, Richard Racehorse Haynes, who I'm actually working on another case of his right now.
Oh my God.
Considerable effort and convincing to prevent his client from marrying Connie before the trial. He was like, I don't think you should do this.
He's like, dude, just take a minute.
He's like, I told you not to divorce Anne in the middle of this and look at her on the stand over there. That's not good for you.
And now you're ready to marry again in the middle of this? Like, dude, get it. Again, use your fucking brain. Like, what is going on?
Not only are you on trial for murder by omission, like that, you're in the headlines for that anyway. You would be regardless. Yeah. You're a high society man. What the fuck are you doing?
This is just wild.
Play the game, idiot.
Yeah, this is just wild.
Jesus Christ. So when the trial did finally begin on February 15th, 1971, John Hill's love life was, of course, put on display for everybody to see.
Yeah, which it didn't need to be.
It didn't need to be, but in this case, it's like, honey.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't need this to be part of it.
Why did you do this?
Like, just take a beat.
Yes.
Take a beat.
Please.
Be a dad, take a beat, and deal with what's going on in your life. Like, I understand you need to, like, because again, if he's not part of this, if this is all like, holy shit, I didn't do this.
Which we don't know.
I mean, he was negligent. That is by 100%.
100%.
Like, nobody can deny that. But it's like, if he's really just going through this shit and is like, holy...
Like, I fucked up.
I understand needing comfort. Like, somebody to, like, it's probably lonely and scary and, like, whatever. I get that. Don't date someone right away. Be a friend.
Find a friend.
Yeah, it's like, wait a little bit.
That's the thing.
Like, it's just, it's not going to look good.
Don't be seen in the 50-foot radius of a woman that you're not related to. So in his opening statement for the jury, I.D. McMaster said, "We expect to prove that problems arose in the course of this marriage, which resulted in the filing of a divorce petition on December 3rd, 1968. When John learned that Joan planned to contest the marriage using his affair with Anne against him, he withdrew his petition." McMaster continued on, "Having failed to terminate the marriage legally, the defendant began to formulate a plan to rid himself of an unwanted wife." Oh. So, after opening statements, McMaster called several witnesses to the stand to testify as to John's behavior and actions in the days leading up to and immediately following Joan's death. Among the first witnesses was a woman named Diane Setagast, I believe. She was a family friend who paid multiple visits to check on Joan before she was even admitted to the hospital. Among other things, Diane told the jury that on the night before Joan's funeral, John was showing Laurel and Hardy films to his friends in the home, just laughing and having a good time. The night before her funeral, like after she had died the most violent death in front of him and in his arms.
Okay.
Yeah. According to Diane, John said Joan had and this is a quote, had a very high fever, approximately 106, and he had broken it. He said after he broke the fever, he didn't take her to a hospital because he thought she was getting all right.
John.
106-degree fever as an adult? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're bordering brain damage at that point, aren't you?
106 is just wild.
Like, that is bordering brain damage, right?
I think they've found research that suggests that it's like not as simple as that, but I honestly do not know what the newest thing is. Okay. That was always the thought that like passed. I think it was like 105 or something.
Well, so back then you would have thought.
So back there, I was going to say, so that was the thought process back there. And it still might be now. I haven't seen the updated stuff. Okay. But I know for an adult that is incredibly high because I know they let kids get a little higher. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, and that's only nowadays that they let kids get higher. Yeah, back then even, you would have brought your kid or your wife to a hospital.
Well, that's the other thing with that doctor who was like, oh, watch out, husbands of America. You're all going to get thrown in jail for killing your wives if they die. It's like, but think about it if like you did this to, like, because he's acting like that's so wild. And it's like, but if you just watched your child suffer for days and did nothing to bring them to a hospital or to help them, you would be charged with something.
Exactly.
For like willfully ignoring that your child was sick. So why is your partner any different?
Agreed.
You know, like it's just like you should, if it's a person in your life that you have especially legally bound yourself to.
Yeah.
You should have to bring them to
care for them.
You should give a shit.
Right.
Yeah, 106 is just to be like, oh yeah, she had a 106 fever, but I broke it. So like I figured she was fine. Why the fuck did she have a 106 fever in the first place?
And it's like you're sitting there being like, I broke it.
Like, it. It's like, how'd you break it?
That, like, what did you do?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? And it's like, why was it that high in the first place? That would be the shocking thing.
Right.
Sure, maybe you broke it, but you bring her to the hospital and go, why did it get that high?
Exactly. Like, what kind of infection is her body fighting off?
I mean, that's a lot.
That's high.
Damn.
Now, by the time Ann Kurth took the stand to testify on behalf of the state, it was becoming clear that, just as they had in the grand jury case, the district attorney's office was hoping to succeed with a case built on innuendo.
Yeah.
In fact, Racehorse Haynes, the defense attorney there, had argued considerably, actually, to keep Ann out of the courtroom for obvious reasons, knowing that her anger and resentment could lead to a mostly slanderous testimony about his client. But he was ultimately overruled, and on February 25th, she did arrive in court to testify. According to Anne, John hated Joan and, quote, couldn't stand to be around her.
Okay. And that's also fucked up.
It's like, yeah, we don't need to know. I guess we do need to know that.
No, I know. It's just like,
it just sucks.
That's the mother of his child. Yeah. Like, that's really fucked up.
It's sad. Now, over the course of her testimony, Anne claimed that she'd found, quote, 3 laboratory dishes containing a reddish substance with white spots in John's apartment. And she heavily implied that he had used tainted pastries to poison Joan.
That's specific.
Very specific.
All of that is pretty specific.
According to Anne, his violent rage was not just reserved for Joan, like I said earlier. While on the stand, she told the jury that he had also tried to kill her multiple times, once by deliberately crashing their car into a bridge abutment, yeah. And another time by, quote, trying to inject her with a syringe. So it's like,
these are like pretty specific. And again, I know people lie. I realize that. I'm not being like, well, hospital's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's specific shit.
And we're going to get more specific because when asked by McMaster why she thought John was trying to kill her with a syringe, Anne said, he just told me how he killed Joan with a needle. He pulled the syringe from his pocket and tried to get it into me.
I mean, that's scary.
And who am I to say that didn't happen? I don't fucking know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and say she's lying. Do I like Anne? No. Do I believe her? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm not going to say she's wrong and that she's totally lying. Like, imagine if she's telling the truth.
Well, that's exactly the problem.
You're not just going to but it's like, what a shitty way for this to come about if she is telling the truth, because so many people aren't going to believe it and just think she's angry.
And you wish that there was somebody there during those times. Like you wish that some... This part of the show is brought to you by Anua, the Korean skincare brand known for scientific, gentle, yet effective formulations. The latest from Anua is the Retinol Collagen Gua Sha Cream, a firming cream with a gua sha-shaped tip built right in. Have you guys heard of gua sha? It's that viral massage tool that moves fluid and tension out of your face. Less puffiness, a snatched jawline, honey, more definition in your face.
Retinol firms and reduces fine lines, and collagen keeps your skin plump and structured. This cream has both of those things, arguably the most optimal combo for that snatched, lifted look all in one step. I am obsessed with the Gua Sha cream. First of all, it feels so cool to the touch. When you put that on your face, it's just like, this is lovely. It's like a little spa treatment that you can give yourself. I like to do mine at night after I get out of the shower. I rub the cream on my face with the little gua sha. I'm sculpting that jawline, honey. I got it on the cheekbones. And actually, I had a facial the other day, and the lady doing my facial, the professional, she said, "Do you use a gua sha at home?" And I said, "I do." And I said, "How did you know that?" And she said, "I didn't have those little like bumps in my chin or like different areas like that." So she could tell that I was using the gua sha. And I said, "Oh my God." I just feel like I wake up less puffy in the morning when I do it the night before. But you can do it whenever you want to. I, 10 out of 10, recommend this product. The Anua Gua Sha Cream value set is available at anua.com, already discounted. Use code MORBID for an extra 10% off. That's ANUA.com, code MORBID. The Sherwin-Williams summer sale is here. Get 30% off select paints and stains or 35% off their newest product, Emerald Symmetry, July 17th through the 27th. Whether you're looking to refresh your interior or your exterior, they've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
There was some kind of person near her that knew that there was something going on that could be like, yeah, there was some stuff happening.
Especially after that car crash. It's too bad that potentially like she didn't say anything then and they couldn't have figured out like, was this intentional?
Yeah.
Like, you know how they can look into that?
Yeah, this is interesting.
But Anne claimed that John's hand was shaking too hard to inject the syringe into her, and he actually dropped it, but that he had another and again attempted to inject her with something, but abandoned his plan when the headlights of an approaching car came into view, she said.
The fuck?
Now, that dramatic revelation was immediately followed by a loud and emphatic objection from Haynes, the defense attorney, who argued that the testimony was prejudicial, inflammatory, and privileged as communication between a husband and a wife.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. And at that point,
fucked up.
He moved for a mistrial.
Honey.
It's fucked up, but that whole loophole there, people rely on that.
Yeah, that's a weird, that loophole can be so fucking detrimental.
And it doesn't always work. I was watching something recently. I don't even remember if it was fiction or not. Or maybe I read something about it recently.
Maybe it was a dream.
Maybe it was a dream. No, I remember reading or watching something where like they were gonna try to use that defense, but then they couldn't.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very
specific situation.
Yeah.
So I think that it can.
And I'm talking about like the privileged testimony.
Yeah.
But he was like, fuck this, we're going for it. And he moved for a mistrial. Judge Fred Huey overruled Haynes' objection and called a recess. But when they returned a short time later, the judge said he reconsidered what had occurred in the courtroom and granted a mistrial.
Are you kidding me?
That's why I was like, why the fuck did you guys want her on the stand? Like, I know it would have been great, but the testimony was so intense and so...
Wow.
Yeah, that you could see this coming from a mile away, that a mistrial was going to happen.
Oh, and it's like, again, if he really did do that shit, then that is so fucked up that her just simply saying that he did that shit.
And if it's the truth.
Made a mistrial. Can you imagine if that's real?
You sit up there and they say, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? And you're like, yeah. And you go ahead and do that, like, hopefully.
This is fucked up.
And if that's the outcome, like, that's why people don't testify sometimes. Yeah, that's why people don't talk about this shit.
Wow, that's really fucked up. So also, Judge Huey.
Huey.
That's a great name.
Huey.
I just had to say it.
It's great.
Judge Huey.
Oh my God. So outside the courtroom, reporters had expected to find John Hill pleased with the outcome, and they were actually surprised by his reaction to the judge's declaration. He told the press, "I'm disappointed that we didn't get to carry on with this. I would have liked to get it over with."
Oh.
Being like, I really would like my name cleared
Like,
here.
I would like to be declared innocent. Yes. Not just because a mistrial does carry with it some connotations, like, because it's literally like something went awry and
And
we're
still
not continuing, but we still have no idea what's going on.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Now, it turned out that John may have been right to be disappointed, though. A poll of the jurors conducted just a few days after the trial indicated that there was an overwhelming majority in favor of an acquittal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was right.
So John Hill was not the only one disappointed with the mistrial, obviously. After spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in his pursuit of justice, and just in general, Ash Robinson was outraged by this decision. I.D. McMaster was also in a similar situation. He spent a wild amount of the state's time and resources pursuing this case that many at this point just believed was a lost cause. And given all that had gone into the case against John Hill to that point, neither man was willing to let it go so easily. And a few months after the mistrial was declared, the DA's office announced that the second trial of John Hill would begin November 15th, 1972. Eek. Now, throughout his relationship with Connie, John had managed to keep the details of the trial and his relationships with Joan and Anne kind of private from her somehow.
That's a little shocking.
It truly is. But of course, she knew why he was on trial, and she'd heard about Joan's death in the papers, but she actually didn't know anything about Ash Robinson. Anne's claims that John had tried to murder Joan were also something that Connie didn't really know about.
Oops.
And she didn't really know about any of the other details that came out in court. I guess she wasn't there. But that changed in the days just before the wedding, because he does end up proposing to her.
Uh-oh.
And just a couple days before the wedding, a folder arrived addressed to Connie's parents. Inside, there were newspaper clippings, reports, and other information detailing the entire situation. The press reports of Joan's death, the reports from private detectives and doctors, and a wealth of information about John's indictment and trial. The envelope had no return address, but most in Texas assumed that it had come from at least Ash Robinson or his people.
Yeah.
At least his people.
Trying to save a gal.
Which...
from what they think is
gonna... You know, I can't be mad at that. I simply can't.
Yeah,
if this is
know
what
the information
he and his truly believed, to warn this girl is the right thing to do.
I guess
in my opinion.
And if he, whatever, it's just oof.
If he truly felt this way,
yeah,
and he did truly feel this way. Now, John had fully expected McMaster to retry him for murder, but in the meantime, he wasn't going to let the district attorney or Ash Robinson control the rest of his life. And in June of that year, he and Connie did end up getting married in a small ceremony of friends.
I'm surprised her parents weren't a little weary of that.
Very interesting.
Or maybe they were.
I'm sure they were to some degree, but she's a grown woman. So it was his third marriage and her first. By that point, John's income had been seriously impacted by the case, and most of his savings had also been eaten up to pay for his defense. And to make matters worse, the bank that held several of the loans that he had taken out to renovate the house had called in the loan, placing further financial stress on this new couple and preventing them from even taking a honeymoon.
Wow.
So sad. But still, the couple was happy and excited about their future together. With the new trial more than a year away at this point, everyone pretty much got back to what passed, I guess, for a normal life. John and his lawyers continued pursuing a civil suit against Ash for slander. McMaster ran for and won a seat on the criminal court, and Ash Robinson continued his protracted amateur investigation, I guess we could call it, of John Hill. It was, for the first time in a very long time, mostly quiet in the lives of everybody involved in the case. Connie even actually felt like John's colleagues and neighbors were finally putting the past behind them and willing to welcome him back into social circles.
Wow.
Like, things seem to just... It's wild what time does.
Yeah.
How people
just like,
are just willing to forget.
Like, sure.
A new case happens,
And they just move on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So in late September of 1972, she traveled with John to Las Vegas for a plastic surgery convention. Neither of them was particularly fond of Vegas, but the trip kind of was like a honeymoon for them, since they hadn't been able to take one after the wedding, and they were just really happy to be together, like getting some time away. They returned to Houston on the evening of September 24th and took a cab from the airport back to the house. Both of them were eager to see Robert, Little Boot, and tell him about the trip. Connie practically ran to the door. Like, she really loved Robert.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah. She seems like a good woman.
Yeah,
from what I read.
And I hope, it seems like they were happy together, so I hope they were.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So she ran to the door, but when she got to it, she was surprised to find the door locked. So she pressed for the doorbell and waited for a minute, but nobody answered. And inside, all she could hear was the television on, like really like blaring loud. And she assumed Robert must have just gotten wrapped up in what he was watching and didn't hear the bell. But she also thought, why hadn't John's mother, who was there taking care of Robert, heard it? So she peered through the small window next to the door, and she actually saw a figure moving in their direction, and she figured it was Robert. But as the figure got closer, Connie noticed that this figure was dressed in what looked like a green jumpsuit or coveralls with a hood covering their face.
What the fuck?
And for a split second, she was like, why would Robert or Myra, John's mom, be wearing a costume? Like, what? When the door finally did open, Connie saw that it was indeed a hooded figure standing before her, and she still thought it was Robert, so she said, what's this? And for a few seconds, the two just stood at the door looking at one another and not saying anything.
What?
And then it occurred to Connie that the figure before her was actually too tall to be Robert and too large to be Myra. And before she could call out to John, the man in green grabbed her by a gold-braided necklace she was wearing and dragged her into the house.
Oh my, what?
Yeah. Everything happened incredibly quickly from that point. The figure finally spoke, telling them that it was a robbery. Connie twisted, trying to get out of the guy's grip, and at this point, John is here, and he steps forward to protect his wife, and that distracted the intruder and gave the opportunity to Connie to break free of the intruder's grasp. So now free, John pushed Connie out of the way, and she ran out the front door toward the neighbor's house to get help. She just reached the house 2 doors down when she heard a gunshot. And then she heard another.
Shut up.
So she shouted to her neighbor, "My husband's being murdered." Just as the neighbor opened the door.
What is going on right now?
It's insane. Connie managed to calm herself down enough to call the police once she was inside her neighbor's house and explained what happened. And then she called Don Fullenwider, one of John's lawyers who actually lived in their neighborhood. So Don races over on foot, and he actually managed to reach the house before the police did. Moving slowly, he approached the front door, which was still slightly open, and he pushed inside. And inside, the house looked fairly undisturbed, but then his eyes settled on something in the middle of the room. 12-year-old Robert Hill was standing over his father, sobbing, with his feet, Robert's feet, and his wrists bound with heavy tape. He looked up, and this is just so sad. It's also very graphic. There was still a piece of tape hanging from the corner of his mouth where somebody had taped his mouth shut. But at that point, he had been able to get it open, and he looked up, and he said, "They've killed my daddy."
Oh my God, destroy me.
Which, ruined me.
I just want to hug Robert.
I know. This kid went through way too much.
I was just going to say,
by the time he was 12 years old.
And then, you think you're getting, it sounds like Connie really cared about him, and,
yeah.
It seems like it was going to be, a happy home, hopefully.
Finally.
Oh, this is all so complicated and, very upsetting.
It's just fucked up.
Oh,
so Fullenwider carried the boy outside to the front lawn just as the police and paramedics arrived at the house, and they went back inside with the officers to direct them to John's body. The paramedic checked for a pulse or any sign of life, but there weren't any. And when they turned the body over, this is pretty bleak. When they turned the body over, they were shocked to find that John's eyes, nose, and mouth were completely covered in the same heavy tape that had been used to bind Robert.
What?
And there was blood seeping out from underneath.
Whoever did this shot, is that what they did? They shot him?
They shot him.
And then covered his eyes, nose, and mouth with tape, or they did that first?
They did that first, I think.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Wow.
Yeah. So the paramedics approached a stunned Don Fullenwider and said, "I'm sorry, mister, we're too late." At just 41 years old, John Hill was dead.
41 years old?
41.
Wow.
Years old.
Wow.
So following the declaration of a mistrial, more than a few people wondered whether John Hill was in danger now.
Wow.
Connie recalled countless nights of harassing phone calls. She said that she would spot Ash driving back and forth outside of their house late at night. John's lawyer, Richard Haynes, had even suggested that John hire a bodyguard. Damn. But by that point, John didn't have the money to get one. Eventually, What'd you say? Sorry.
That's awful.
It is, yeah. Eventually, after a few months, the calls did slow down and eventually stopped. And even Ash seemed to slow the frequency of his alleged drive-bys, which led Connie to believe that they were out of danger and things were finally settling down. Like she had kind of said earlier, like it seemed like people were finally chilling out. But despite the relative calm, few people were all that surprised when the news of John's murder was reported in the press. I.D. McMaster told a friend, when that old boy signed that letter Ash Robinson wrote way back in December and then reneged on it, he signed his death warrant.
Ooh.
Yeah. Others were less...
That's an
pretty
indictment right
black
there.
and white.
Like, damn.
I know. Others were less subtle or quiet about their opinions, which... Honestly, that wasn't that
I was
subtle
like,
to
I don't
me.
know if that was about as subtle as a fucking, like, iron slab falling on you.
Yeah, not very subtle. No, but I guess the other people were like a piano falling on you.
Yeah.
So just one day after the murder, Richard Haynes told the press he thought the robbery was a cover-up and the slaying could have been an assassination, with the implication that Ash Robinson was behind John's murder. Oof. So the first thing detectives did after searching the scene was talk to Robert Hill. According to the boy, a man had shown up at the Hill residence about a half hour before his parents got home and forced his way inside. After tying up Robert and his grandmother Myra, the man simply sat in the house and waited for John and Connie to return.
Okay.
Robert was in another room when he heard the gunshots, and by the time he managed to get out to where his father was, the intruder was gone.
I mean, that seems like that was the intention. You wait for him to come.
Oh, yeah.
Kill him and then you leave.
It was 100%
like
that was the intention.
Kind of proves at least the part that this wasn't like just a robbery that John happened to be involved in.
Not at all.
No.
It would take a few more days before John's mother, Myra, could speak. I mean, of course. And also, I mean, one, because of the emotional trauma, but she had also been kicked in the throat by the killer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't seem like it would be someone Ash Robinson. Not that I believe that was really it anyway, but this doesn't seem like it would be connected to Ash Robinson having his own wife kicked in the throat. I feel like that wouldn't be.
That's not his wife. It's John's mom.
Oh, John's mom. I forgot this was John's mom.
Yeah.
But, but that's also doesn't, because it's like having Robert, I don't know. It just doesn't feel... He loved Robert.
I feel like
he would never put that kid in. I don't know Ash. I'm acting like I know him. I'm like,
well,
I know him,
and
I feel like from what I've heard here, it seems so unlikely that somebody who loves their grandson that much and dotes on them so much and cares about them would put them through that kind of trauma, even for their own gain. You know,
I agree with that, and I'm not saying that he did arrange this, but just playing devil's advocate, maybe he didn't know that Robert was going to be home.
That's true.
Or maybe he had,
but he would kind of have to know, because if he knows that they're on their trip,
right?
Where's Robert? If they're not taking care of them, then
you know, I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to know the details.
Yeah, I mean, it's
devil's advocating.
Possible. Yeah,
I don't know that he.
It's all just, this is very confusing. Poor Myra.
Yeah,
jeez, kicked in the throat.
Poor everyone involved in this case. The tragedy just keeps trickling down, but. When she was able to speak, Myra told a nearly identical story to what Robert had told police. According to Myra, they received a call at the house the night before from a man who said his name was James Gleason. There was an urgent tone, she said, in his voice, and he was very anxious to speak with John. So Myra said the Hills would be returning the following evening, and as soon as she said that, the man hung up.
Oh.
Now, hindsight is 20/20, but going forward, don't ever tell anybody when your family members or when you are going to be home or anything about your schedule.
Yeah, don't let strangers know those things.
No. The man called again the next afternoon, and again, Myra said that they would be home that night around 7:30.
Oh,
and the man hung up.
And obviously she didn't know that this would happen. Of
course she didn't. But at about 7 p.m. that night, the doorbell rang. Robert got up to answer it, assuming it was his parents. But when he opened the door, he found a large man standing before them wearing a hood and what appeared to Myra to be a wig, which that just fucking creeps me out. The man raised his gun and pointed it at them, informing them that this was a robbery. He then ordered them into an adjacent room where they were tied up, taped, and just told to sit down and wait. About 20 minutes later, they heard the sound of a car pulling up inside the driveway. And fearing that Robert or Myra might call out to John, the man kicked Robert in the side of the head, 12-year-old boy, and Myra in the throat, and then left the room.
The fuck?
Myra told the detective she didn't recognize the man, and he never said anything to indicate who he was or why he was there, other than saying it was a robbery.
That's terrifying.
But he's sitting in the house waiting for them to come home. He's not going through anything.
He's just tying them up.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
So, sensing the gravity of the situation, Dr. Joseph Yahimchik decided to handle the case himself on behalf of the coroner's office. He's like, I'm already pretty involved in this. So John had been shot, it turned out, 3 times with a .38 caliber revolver. He'd been shot once in the wrist, which I'm assuming was like in a struggle.
A defense thing.
Mm-hmm. Once in the right shoulder, and the third shot was the fatal one, which was through the stomach, and it severed his aorta.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the bleeding.
Yeah. Yahimchik estimated that, this is horrible, John likely bled internally for 3 to 5 minutes before dying from his wounds. So this was unfortunately a slow death.
Awful.
There were also deep scratches and abrasions on his face and arms, which the coroner interpreted as a sign that John had put up a considerable fight before sustaining the disabling shot.
Yeah. I mean, your kid is in the house.
Of course. You're going to fight.
Yeah.
The detectives at the scene started operating from the position that John's death was simply a robbery gone wrong. I guess that's all they had at that point. So how else are you going to go about it?
And if you start from there, then maybe you can
figure it out along the way.
You're looking at it very unbiasedly there.
Yeah.
So maybe I think that is the smart way, instead of going in with a preconceived notion of like something strange happened here.
Right. And there were signs that maybe this was a robbery because his John's briefcase and wallet were missing. And the man who had killed him, like we know, said more than once that it was a robbery.
Yeah.
But as far as anybody could tell, once they started kind of going through everything, the killer hadn't even entered or seemed interested in the other rooms in the house besides the one where the murder took place. Which obviously struck the investigators as strange because John and Connie's house was full of valuable items that would have attracted the attention of a robber.
And again, why are you waiting for the other people to come home? You've already subdued the grandmother and the child. So now this would be your chance to go take anything you want and get the fuck out of there before somebody who's maybe more in the prime time to fight back with you. And especially coming home.
He got there at 7. Myra had told him, like my son who it seems like you're looking for, or this caller, this mystery caller. Yeah. And if that was set up as a robbery and it is connected, you'd have a half hour to get all the shit you could and get out
before they get home.
And not have to kill anybody. No.
There's no way.
So other than that, those couple things, the scene was light on evidence. And after 6 hours of searching the premises, the most that the detectives found were the rolls of tape used to bind Robert and Myra, one of the fingers from the work gloves that the intruder wore, and the green hood that he had been wearing, which turned out to be a cheap green pillowcase with holes cut out so that he could see.
Oh my God.
Terrifying.
That is like The Strangers.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I hate that.
Oh, it freaks me out a lot.
Poor Robert. And poor Myra, seeing that.
And Connie, to open your door to that.
Oh my God, I forgot that she just,
Yeah.
Oh, I hate this.
Something, and John,
horrifying.
Obviously.
Yeah.
That's out of a nightmare. Later, when the evidence had been processed, the detectives would be disappointed to find that no fingerprints had been left anywhere.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
So about a week later, lead detective Jerry Carpenter got a call that some kids had found John's briefcase in some bushes a few miles from the home. When he arrived, Carpenter was disappointed to find that all the children in the neighborhood had heavily handled the briefcase.
Kids.
But as he searched around the site for additional evidence, he noticed what he thought was a pipe covered in leaves and mud. But as he started pulling it out of the dirt, he realized it was not a pipe, but a .38 revolver.
Oh,
which is what John was shot with. When the ballistics test finally came back a few days later, they confirmed that the revolver discovered in the lot with the briefcase was the exact same one that had been used to kill John Hill.
Only a few miles from the house, they threw it in a bush?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah.
That's weird.
So detectives, this is where shit is going to go.
It goes even more wily?
You couldn't make this. You would watch this in a movie and be like, they did a little too much here. Like, I'm not following.
What?
I'm going to do my best. It's not that complicated, but it's just, you're like, what? Wild. So detectives traced the gun back to Dr. Orrin, I believe it's Staves.
What?
A Washington, D.C. doctor. He sheepishly informed detectives that he had indeed purchased the gun while he was in Texas on business, but that it had been stolen from him by a sex worker that he had hired while he was asleep. And he said that this sex worker also stole one of his cars.
Damn.
He couldn't remember much about the woman, but he said that she referred to herself by the name Dusty, and he thought that her real name was Marcia McKittrick. Using his former Vice Squad contacts, Carpenter learned that there was indeed a sex worker in Houston who did operate under the name Dusty, and that she would likely be found in the company. It's a fancy company.
A company
Of her boyfriend, Bobby Vandiver, and an older woman by the name of Lila Paulus.
What the fuck is going on?
I told you.
Shit.
It gets very, very complicated.
Okay.
So after months of dead ends and dried up leads, the investigators finally managed to track down all three of these people at Lila's home in Houston. All were arrested without incident on April 27th, 1973. At first, all three were very uncooperative with investigators. They all denied any involvement in the murder. They refused to say anything else to detectives other than...
did your gun end up there?
A gun that you stole. Right.
Yeah.
But things started to change when Myra and Robert Hill were brought into the precinct for a lineup. Of the men standing on the other side of the glass, only two looked vaguely familiar to Robert, but he couldn't be certain if either was the intruder. Myra, on the other hand, had absolutely no doubt about it. After looking each person over carefully and listening to their voices, she identified Bobby Vandiver, as the man who had broken into their home and attacked them.
Whoa.
Yeah. It took a few days of contemplation and back and forth with investigators before Bobby finally accepted that there was likely not any way out of this situation, and he agreed to talk to Carpenter. According to Bobby, it was August 1972.
Getting scared is one thing. Getting a thrill is, well, you want more of those in your life. The Genesis GV70 is built to thrill, baby. A thrilling yet elegant design always makes driving the GV70 an exciting adventure. Its powerful athletic stance screams performance and turns heads. Everybody's looking at you, girl. Or boy, or whoever. Command the road and experience a class-leading standard 300 horsepower. Oh my God. Plus, discover the different dynamic drive modes for all different terrains. Choose between the different terrain modes for whatever road conditions you may encounter. The Genesis GV70's award-winning technology and performance lets you drive with comfort and drive with confidence all at the same time. It's an exciting SUV with intuitive tech that can make your ride smooth even when the road isn't. And its blind spot cameras allow you to see what's next to you. It's like having eyes on the side of your head. That's pretty iconic. Its performance, by the way, is measured not only in power, but in how it makes you feel confident, sexy. The Genesis GV70. Learn more at genesis.com and feel the GV70.
Need a boost? Sometimes all it takes is tapping into your inner cool. Icebreaker's gum helps you unleash the confidence within. Each chew releases a rush of icy flavor powered by cooling flavor crystals, sending a wave of refreshment to reinvigorate all your senses. Icebreaker's convenient pack fits everywhere, from car cup holders to backpack pockets, so you can find your cool wherever you go. Grab Icebreaker's gum online or at a store near you.
When Lila, the older woman, who I think they were just like friends with her.
Yeah.
Lila started talking about a contract on someone's life with a $5,000 payout.
Shut the fuck up.
Ordinarily, Bobby didn't do things like that, he said, but he was particularly broke at the time, and he told her that he'd think about it.
I love ordinarily I wouldn't
be a hired hitman.
I wouldn't kill people for money, but
tough times, you know?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So a few days later, Lila called to say that somebody else had taken the job, so forget it. Okay. But then a few days after that, she called again, and she said that had fallen through, and Bobby, it's still available if you want it. He told the detective, she told me that the contract was on a doctor who had killed his wife, and it was the wife's father who was wanting him dead.
Oh boy.
During his statement, Bobby knew all the details of the case, from the location of the Hill's house to their schedules. When Lila gave Bobby the photo of his target, it had been cut along the corners into the shape of a coffin, which she said had been done by Ash.
That is theatrical.
Theatrical as fuck. Marcia helped gather the information and tracked the Hills' movements to make sure that everything would work out as planned. And Bobby's description of the night of the murders was nearly identical to what the investigators had been told by Robert and Myra. He told Carpenter, "I got the pillowcase from Lila Paulus's house."
What the fuck? This is so fucked up.
It's unreal. His account of the murder not only matched the witnesses' statements, but it also fit with the theory and the evidence collected at the scene and from the body. But the problem was, while they believed what Bobby had told them, their entire case was turning into this gigantic conspiracy.
Because now we're bringing
Ash Robinson
into it and saying he contracted these people.
And now we have to prove that. How do we prove that?
Holy shit, this just keeps turning.
This is one of the most twisty-turny cases that I have ever read of.
It really is.
So the biggest challenge facing the district attorney at that point was, according to Texas law, a jury could not convict a person based solely on the testimony of their accomplice. That's to say, Bobby might have confessed to the murder, but in order to get additional convictions for his girlfriend, Marcia McKittrick, and Lila Paulus, and Ash Robinson, they would all need to have corroborating testimony.
Oh, shit.
But still, prosecutor Bob Bennett decided to bring the case before a grand jury, who indicted Bobby Vandiver and Marcia McCrittick for first-degree murder and Lila Paulus as an accomplice.
Wow.
So while they waited for the trial date to come, Bennett put Bobby Vandiver and his wife, who was not Marcia.
Oh my God, these men.
I know. Up in a motel where it was basically like a kind of house arrest where Bobby agreed to stay in the motel unless given explicit permission to go anywhere else. In June of 1973, Bobby explained that his wife, Vicky, had been engaged in a bitter custody battle with the father of her child and needed to travel to Dallas for a hearing. And he was seeking permission to accompany her and stay there for the duration of that trial.
So I just want to get this straight.
Totally,
really quick.
I get it.
His wife is trying to get custody of a child while married to a man who admitted to just doing a contract killing?
Yep. Or I don't know if she currently had custody.
Don't give them custody.
Yeah, don't give them custody.
I know this is long ago in the past, but like, hope that kid is okay. Because the fact that he's like, I would like to join her for that custody hearing, it's like, my guy, I don't think you should.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to look really
I think
bad.
that's going to be a strike against her.
Yeah, you would think.
Like,
it's like you are living in a motel right now because you have to.
Because you just admitted to
arrest.
Doing a contract killing, kicking a grandma in the throat. And kicking a kid in the head.
And murdering a man.
After murdering
brutally.
a man.
And you would have murdered Connie if she had not gotten out of the house.
Like, no one's all right.
No one is okay.
No one's okay here.
No.
This is really wild. I just can't, my brain won't wrap around to any of these people's actions or thoughts, so...
And when we say no one, we mean no one.
Literally
because
no one.
Given how cooperative Bobby had been to that point, Bennett said... Yeah, you can go travel to that custody hearing on the condition that you check in with me regularly in return for your trial, which is scheduled for September.
So you really meant no one?
No, I straight up meant no one.
No one's all right.
Now, you're going to be shocked to hear that months passed and Bobby actually did seem to be following the rules laid out by Bennett.
That is shocking.
Which set the prosecutor's mind at ease. He even showed up for his trial in September, just as he was expected to do. But upon his arrival, he learned that the trial would be delayed and was rescheduled for April 1974. Unfortunately for Bennett, when the trial date finally did arrive, Bobby was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
Maybe the reality of a first-degree murder conviction was finally setting in, or maybe he had just gotten tired of waiting around. But whatever the case, after the trial was rescheduled, Bobby decided not to return to Dallas, and instead he and Vicky went on the run.
Hopefully without that child.
I don't think the child was with them. I actually cannot confirm that, but...
I really hope not.
I'm going to say for my own and for everybody's peace of mind that no.
They were not,
no.
and that child is an adult now and is fine.
Yeah, totally fine. They ended up settling in Longview, Texas, under the name, they both settled in Longview, Texas, and he underwent the name J.C. Sheridan.
Wow.
He took on an alias.
Yeah.
As one of the smaller cities in Texas, Longview's law enforcement agencies had a tendency to know and keep tabs on the local troublemakers. So when Officer John Raymer noticed a new car and 2 new faces hanging out at the local pool halls and bars.
This is so small town. I love it.
He made a point of finding out who this new couple was. He had good instincts, and he prided himself on his ability to size people up with reasonable accuracy.
I mean, he's doing good so far.
He is. This guy, the end of this is truly
like a movie. Yeah.
It is. It sounds ridiculous, but it's real. As soon as he saw quote-unquote J.C. Sheridan, he figured the guy was in town for one of 4 reasons. To sell drugs, to look for an underworld contract, pimping, or he was on the run.
Yeah.
After getting Sheridan's name, Raymer ran the man through every database he could think of, and he came up with nothing under the name J.C. Sheridan, of course. But still, something didn't seem right with this new guy in town, so he was like, I'm going to keep a close eye on this one.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, instincts. Strangely enough, Bobby's arrival in Longview did coincide with a startling increase in barroom fights and fatalities around the area.
You don't say.
So weird. And law enforcement officials had been on high alert for any report. I was reading alert and reports at the same time. Alert.
High alert.
They've been on high alert for any reports of bar fights or problems at drinking establishments. And on the evening of May 11th, John Raymer was punching out of work, and he went down to the Continental, where Vicky was working as a waitress at the time. He was just drinking his coffee, and he heard a commotion on the other side of the room. The noise turned out to be coming from a drunk person, just harmlessly ranting about something. But as he scanned the rest of the room, he did lock eyes with J.C. Sheridan, a.k.a. Bobby, who was playing pool. They stared at one another briefly, and then Bobby gently set his cue down on the table and made a hasty exit toward the back door.
Subtle.
Yeah. His quick exit only made him more suspicious in Raymer's eyes.
Subtle.
But things felt too tense in the bar that night, so Raymer thought it was best to just stick around and make sure things didn't get out of hand in the bar. And he was like, I'm gonna table that
yeah. He's
J.C.
like, you know
Sheridan
what?
character.
I'm gonna let that just kind of settle, marinate a little bit.
Just for now.
Yeah.
But a few days later, he had gotten off of work and was settling into bed at home when his phone rang. The anonymous voice on the other end sounded young and slightly gruff, not anybody he recognized. The caller informed Raymer that the man he'd been keeping an eye on in Longview was not J.C. Sheridan, but Bobby Vandiver, a man who had recently gone on the lam to avoid first-degree murder.
Wow.
Yeah. Murder charges, excuse me. Having learned this new information, Raymer knew that he was not going to be able to sleep at this point. So he got back to the office and he called the Mesquite police to get a physical description of Bobby. His contact at the Mesquite Police Department said they would get back to him with a photo identification by teletype. Teletype. Rather than wait for the image to reach him, though, Raymer went out to patrol in the hopes that he might find Bobby on the street somewhere.
Raymer is like...
He's that one, like, chain smoking in his office.
He's the detective here. Like, he's just... I'm like, all right, Raymer.
Yeah.
All right.
He's got instincts.
Damn.
And they're
and
right.
he was right. He was dead on.
Dead on. Just... That's cool.
That is cool.
To just see some guy and be like, I don't know.
Like, I'm sorry, Raymer is like the MVP here.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he's just not giving up either. He's not like letting it go. He's like, something's up here.
Quintessential small town cop.
Yeah.
Like from a movie in Texas. I love it. He lives in a saloon and I know it.
He lives in a saloon.
His home has those swinging doors. Exactly.
That's it.
Brain telepathy right there. But so he's like, yeah, I'm going to go out and find this motherfucker. He was just outside of the Continental when he got a radio communication asking him to contact the department. So he found the nearest payphone and he called the department. And of course, he got the confirmation that J.C. Sheridan was Bobby. And more importantly, during an arrest for drunk driving in February, Bobby told the arresting officer, quote, he would kill the next officer who tried to arrest him.
Wow.
So now Raymer's like, fuck.
Shit.
Now, he knew that Bobby at this point was inside the Continental. And under the circumstances, though, he called for backup and waited for them to arrive before attempting the arrest.
Raymer keeps getting better.
Yeah.
He's not going in there like an idiot.
Willy-nilly.
He's like, I just heard straight up, black and white, I'm going to kill the next officer who tries to arrest me. I'm not going to blow myself in there.
No.
I'm going to get some backup. Like, this man's taking all the right steps.
He is.
I'm impressed by Raymer.
I am too.
I hope I continue to be.
You will.
Don't disappoint me. Okay.
No, he won't.
I was like, don't make him bad.
Yeah. So, with a plainclothes officer positioned outside the back door, Raymer entered the Continental and approached the area with the pool tables, of course. When he called out Bobby's name, Bobby, Bobby looked up in surprise to see that Raymer was walking towards him with his gun drawn. Damn. Like, motherfucker, you're under arrest.
I love that he called out Bobby.
And Bobby looked up.
Because you know instinctively
idiot.
he's going to look up.
So with Raymer standing directly in front of him, the two men stared at one another for a few seconds, and then Bobby reached for the gun in Raymer's hand, attempting to push it aside, while then reaching for his own gun with the other hand.
Damn.
So instinctively, Raymer fired, but Bobby's hand had pushed the gun down, and the bullet ricocheted off the floor and lodged in the ceiling.
Damn.
However, the heat from the discharge made the barrel of the gun really hot, which made Bobby let go, and that gave Raymer the opportunity to get him down.
What an intense takedown.
This is a shootout. So Raymer fired a second shot, this time directly into Bobby's chest at point blank range, because he was about to shoot him.
He was reaching for his weapon.
You got to do that.
Yeah.
And this shot tore a huge hole in Bobby's body. Bobby grabbed desperately at Raymer and dragged him to the floor with him. Vicky ran over to her husband in terror, pushing Raymer and the other officer aside. But by the time she had Bobby's head in her hands, he was already dead.
Holy shit.
So he died. So now, with Bobby Vandiver dead, Bob Bennett's case against those involved in John Hill's murder was in peril.
Yeah, I was just going to say that fucked everything up, though.
It did fuck everything up, which you can't be disappointed in Raymer because he didn't really have another option there. That was
a
situation of kill or be killed.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
damn.
But it fucked this up.
Yeah, it fucked this up.
Yeah. Marcia McKittrick's lawyer argued that, McKittrick's lawyer argued that since Bobby was dead and couldn't testify, the prosecutor was in danger of violating Marcia's Sixth Amendment right to face her accuser. Because Bobby accused her of being involved. But the way that, like, multiple trials in this case just get fucked by, like, the most minute details. And just, like, tiny little loopholes.
Yeah.
So the judge shot down the lawyer's movement to dismiss the case, but Bennett knew the lawyer had a point. So rather at this point than risk a mistrial or an acquittal, Bennett actually struck a deal with Marcia to plead no contest and accept the guilt as an accomplice in Hill's murder, particularly as the driver of the car.
Okay.
As a result of her plea, Marcia was given a sentence of 10 years in prison and was paroled after 5 years. So she took the deal.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lilla Paulus went to trial in February of 1975 on a charge of being an accomplice to murder. As part of her plea deal, Marcia had testified against Lilla, though she only did so after her immunity was granted.
Of course.
She told the court that Lilla had been paid $25,000 by Ash Robinson to arrange the murder of his former son-in-law, and $5,000 of that was what she offered Bobby to actually do the killing, which I was like, whoa. You only got $5,000 of the $25,000, and you're doing the hit.
Damn.
Like, that's a bad deal. It's a bad deal no matter what because you're murdering someone. But
yeah.
In the end, Lilla Paulus's trial was lengthy and involved many of the Hills' closest friends and associates. But the link between Lilla and Ash was tenuous at best.
Really?
As expected, when he was called to the stand, Ash, of course, strongly denied playing any role in John's death and told the court, I didn't want him dead. His killing didn't solve any problems of mine.
I mean...
Which, like...
He makes a valid point.
Yeah, what
my
good is he dead?
It sounds like what he wants is I want him put behind bars.
He's like, my whole pursuit here was justice.
Yeah.
That's not...
That just ends it. Now it's over.
I mean, I guess it depends on his definition of justice.
Exactly. And it depends on if he was willing to, he just wanted it over.
Right.
And this was the closest thing to justice, which again, who knows?
Not me. Now,
I really wanted to believe, and I still want to believe that Ash didn't have anything to do with this.
You'll never really know.
But we'll never know. But I really just want to believe he didn't.
I know. Well, Lilla Paulus tried everything she could think of to put distance between herself and the murder, including telling the jury that Jerry Carpenter had manipulated her into implicating Ash.
Jesus.
Saying that she would get immunity if she accused Ash.
Oh, the plot thickens.
But in the end, the jury believed the prosecutor and sentenced Lilla to 35 years in prison. The sentence was overturned on appeal in 1981, but it was actually then reinstated by the criminal court the next year. And unfortunately, if she was innocent, Lila Paulus died from breast cancer in prison in 1986.
Oh, wow.
Very complicated. In 1977, Connie Hill filed a $7.6 million civil suit against Ash Robinson, alleging that he had colluded with Paulus to have John murdered. In court, Myra Hill told the jury that Ash had been obsessed with John ever since Joan's death and was quote-unquote fiendishly vindictive towards her son. In his defense, Ash told the jury, this has been a journey.
It has.
He told the jury, I did want him prosecuted, and if he was guilty, then convicted and punished for it. But there was no intention any which way in the world of killing him or having him killed.
Okay.
So he's like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
In the end, the jury ruled 10-2 against the Hills, stating that while he may have been responsible for a certain amount in emotional damages, quote, Mr. Robinson was not guilty of the conspiracy charge, and he could not be forced to pay for what he had already been cleared of by a higher court.
Damn.
Now, in 1980, CBS News aired a segment on the case alleging that it was very possible Joan Robinson Hill had died from a newly discovered medical condition known as toxic shock.
Oh.
Yes. First identified in the late 70s.
Toxic shock syndrome.
Yep. And
scariest thing ever.
Scariest thing ever, especially as a woman.
Yeah.
Because it was first identified in the late 70s and associated with tampon use. Toxic shock syndrome causes many of the symptoms Joan experienced right before her death and would have explained the rapid onset and quick deterioration.
Wow.
And as it hadn't been established in the medical community at that point in time, it also could have accounted for the multiple conflicting causes of death.
Because nobody could pinpoint it because they didn't know a lot about it.
And at this point, we'll never know because everything has been so compromised at this point. Wow. Well, now, when the news of the new theory broke, John's former lawyer, Richard Haynes, told reporters, I'm not a doctor, but I'm satisfied in my own mind that Joan Robinson Hill met her death, unkindly as it was, as a consequence of what we now know to be toxic shock.
Wow.
Which he can't say that definitively.
No, of course
it's
not.
A possibility.
He's saying that that's what makes him sleep at night.
He's saying that's what makes him sleep at night. Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
But still, we don't know. That very well could be it, but there was a point in time where it very well could have been hepatitis, and then everybody was like, no, there's no way it's hepatitis.
Yeah.
And then it could have been a bacterial infection, and then there was no way it was a bacterial infection. So we'll never know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But after the end of all the trials, Ash and Rhea Robinson relocated to Florida, where they lived out the rest of their lives. In 1981, after years of bitterness, Robert Hill reconciled with his grandparents and maintained a good relationship with them until their deaths.
Good for him.
And Ash Robinson died of natural causes in February 1986 at the age of 87.
Wow.
And that is the wildly complicated case of the death of Joan Robinson Hill and the murder of John Hill.
I am
at the end of it,
blown away by that.
At the end of it, you don't even know what to believe
I
in
have
either
no
case.
idea what happened anywhere in that case.
Because it's like...
No idea.
I don't know if Ash hired somebody or not, but like, why would somebody else just randomly kill John? Other than,
I don't know.
I can't, like,
I don't know, because also it's like, what happened with Anne?
I know.
Sounds like there was a lot of shit going on there, and it's like...
Was any of that true? But then it sounds like Connie was very happy in her relationship with John.
Sometimes that
happens,
that happens.
We'll never fucking know.
Because it's like, it's not like he was without enemies. I mean, look at... Anne is an enemy of his.
Absolutely.
And might have some people around her who were not happy with John or how she was claiming to be
That's
treated.
A good point. You know what? I didn't think of that.
Like,
so
that's
good,
a whole other...
call.
Again, I'm not saying she did anything or like she hired anybody or knows anybody that hired anything.
Yeah.
Just saying that the buck doesn't stop with Ash Robinson there as the only person who could have possibly been this angry with John Hill.
Very good point. I didn't even think of that.
Avenue. So
and
it's like...
There's also, I mean, like...
You can see it.
He made enemies within the doctors,
the medical community,
the medical field. Sorry, this case has been so long. I'm like, I can't think within the medical field because I'm sure some people believed that he had killed his wife. And
and didn't he have some malpractice?
He had that one malpractice thing. It was so long ago at that point that I don't know.
So there was that. But it's just to say that, like, there was some stuff. And, like, obviously the Ash Robinson thing, like, there's some pieces that you can sit there and put together and go, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But some other stuff could make sense too, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So,
either way, it sounds like everybody just, what a complicated, awful, tragic, in every way conceivable story.
Truly. And I really think that's the perfect sign off for this. So
truly.
With that being said, we hope you keep listening.
And we hope you
keep
it weird.
Oh, but I don't even know where to go with that.
Slightly this weird.
Yeah, don't even
think about it.
You know that.
Yeah, don't.
Love you. Bye.
You wouldn't take financial advice from a 72 hours in a single day alpha influencer, would you? Same goes if you're in a car accident or any accident. Who you choose matters. That's why Morgan & Morgan exists. They're the largest injury law firm in America, and they've built a reputation by actually winning cases, not just talking about it. Over 1,000 lawyers across all 50 states and $30 billion recovered. Injured? Go to forthepeople.com/podcast. That's forthepeople.com/podcast.
Traditional home security only alerts you after a break-in, and that's too late. Simply Safe is changing that.
Stop. This is Simply Safe. Police are on the way.
We don't just alert, we stop crime before it starts. Simply Safe, plan starting around $1 a day. Save 50% on your new system with professional monitoring at simplysafe.com/SXM or with promo code SXM.
Outdoor deterrence requires a Simply Safe Active Guard outdoor protection plan starting at $49.99 a month. Visit simplysafe.com/licenses for alarm license information. Tennessee 2012.